Hey there, RV peoples. I don't know if you remember from my look at the new Dinosaur Hall at the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County, but I'd said that, I might go down to the museum on the 16th and see the Dinosaur Hall without having to run around and get pictures and interviews, just to sit back and actually be able to enjoy it. And, well, I was able to. I stayed at my friend's on Ventura to cut down on my driving time, and then I went there on the 16th. Now, just to get it out of the way, Carmageddon did not interfere. I mean, traffic was smooth, and I'd almost argue was better than usual LA traffic. I mean, I hate driving in LA, because not only do most of the people down there seem to drive like idiots, but also, traffic will just come to a halt for no reason. You'll just be sitting there going maybe 5 miles an hour at most. But none of that. I mean, absolutely no snarls out on the freeway. So, and, no trouble in or out. So I would say Carmageddon was a complete bust. I mean, there was no, paralyzing gridlock or anything. It was just nice, smooth traffic. Of course, I didn't know that going down, so, to prepare for Carmageddon, I left my friends in Ventura at about 7 o'clock in the morning. But because there was no Carmageddon, I ended up getting to the museum about an hour early. And so basically what I did was I just, to kill the time, I took my Joe out and practiced it for a while. And those of you who don't know, Joe is the name of the staff used in Aikido, because I do Aikido. And anyway, so I practiced that for a while, and then I went into the museum and was able to enjoy it. And I just thought I'd kind of do a follow-up to my big old video looking at the Dinosaur Hall. And so that's basically what I'm going to do here. Just a few things that I missed, a few things that they added since I got to see it about a week and a half ago. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's just dive right in. Alright, first off, that computer display that went with the Great Wall of Fossils. Actually, let's just talk about that whole display for a moment. But, we'll start off with the computer, because that's what I mentioned first. The computer interactive that went with that display was really, really good, I thought. Because instead of having to label each individual fossil with the labels, taking up space, cluttering up the whole display, they just gave each fossil a number that you could then look up on a computer. And what was also really great about this display, computer display, was there were many different ways that you could look for the fossils. You could sort the fossils by taxonomy, like, is it from a long-necked dinosaur, is it from a meat-eating dinosaur, or an armored dinosaur? You could sort it by age, the different time periods that the fossils came from. You could just punch it in, just punch in the number. You can do it that way, or you can just bring up the wall on the computer screen and pick out the specimen. It's not like you have to keep running back and look for the number of the fossil you want to look up, but you can just find it in the computer in a various number of ways. And I thought that was really good. What else? Oh yeah, because I had mentioned in my previous videos that I'd wished they had showed more dinosaur fossils from Baja California. Well, this Great Wall of Fossils actually did. Most of the specimens were hadrosaur. They had them just labeled as hadrosaurid remains, but, they could be from Lambeosaurus laticatus. But until more fossil material is found from the El Gallo Formation, that allows us to sort through hadrosaurs to see if it's just Lambeosaurus or if there were other hadrosaurs living in Baja at that time. But, come to think of it, I don't know if much work, if any work, has been done in the El Gallo Formation since the 1960s. And the specimens from Baja were varied. They had, vertebra, limb bones, a jawbone, and even skin impressions. There was a humerus in there, but I don't know if it was the humerus. The humerus that indicates that there at least was an an individual of Lambeosaurus that was 50 feet long and 20 tons. It looked like an average-sized hadrosaur humerus. I mean, at least it didn't look any bigger than other hadrosaur arm bones that I've seen. It may have been, it may not. I don't know. My mammals are not as good as my dinosaurs are not as good as my mammals. Sorry. Anyway, they also had a lot of interesting footprints. There we go, damn it. I'm sorry, I suck. But anyway, they also had some cool footprints going on in that case. They had the, there was like an ankylosaurid from the early Cretaceous. There were sauropod tracks from the early Cretaceous period. All of them found in Utah, and of course, you know, your classic dinosaur footprint, the three-toed theropod or ornithopod tracks. And then, you know, they had just lots of material from Montana and Utah, you know, Jurassic sauropods, Triceratops, Edmontosaurus, all, you know, your standard dinosaur fare, I guess you can call it. But I was also very interested in some of these smaller specimens because of where they're from. As I noted in my video, and as I'll keep noting and get used to it, is that I like stuff that's different, you know, not mainstream, off the beaten path, so to speak. And, you know, Utah and Montana, at least the Morrison and Hell Creek formations, those seem to be kind of very mainstream. This kind of seem to be the staple dinosaurs of museum displays. But, like I said, I'm interested in different stuff. Like they had just a ceratopsid, unidentified ceratopsid vertebra from the late Cretaceous of Utah. I thought that was very cool, especially because the kind of one of my favorite museums, the Raymond Elf Museum, looks for fossils out there in the Kaiparowits. So that was neat to see, but even more so was this part of a foot of an ornithomimid. You know, ornithomimids are these kind of large ostrich-like dinosaurs that lived during the Cretaceous period, and in fact one of them, Struthiomimus, actually means ostrich mimic. But anyway, what made this little bone more interesting to me than, you know, say that big Apatosaurus femur is where it's found. It was found in New Mexico. Now, something else you'll be hearing me mention a lot is my foolhardy dream of opening my own museum someday. It's a big part of my outlook on things. It's also a big factor in my depression. But, yeah, so you'll have to get used to it. But anyway, because I want to look for dinosaurs in New Mexico. I mean, yeah, everyone goes to Utah and Montana to look for dinosaurs, but I want to go to New Mexico and another part of Montana. Sorry, I should have clarified further. Is most dinosaur work by museums abroad is done in the Hell Creek Formation of Montana. I want to look in the Two Medicine Formation of Montana, which is about 10 million years older. It has a completely different not completely different, but very different dinosaur fauna. And the Kirtland Formation of New Mexico has a similar dinosaur fauna. And, you know, I'll get into this deeper later, but yeah, because I want to search for dinosaurs in Montana and New Mexico. I'd love to search for them in Baja California, but you know, I read again the Dinosaurs and Other Mesozoic Vertebrates of California that the terrain is very hard to traverse, fossils very hard to extract because of the uneven terrain, and that doesn't scare me so much. But I remember they said that there was political instability, that, you know, apparently that at one point the LA Museum had to return many of its specimens to Mexico, so I don't know if they'd still allow gringos like me to go looking down there. I'd love to. I don't know if I'll ever be able to. I guess I'll try and keep my hopes up, no promises. But, you know, just closing out, really cool, this whole Great Wall of Fossils, showing the variety and diversity of fossils, that fossils are not just bones, but it could be all sorts of things, you know, like eggs, footprints, even skin impressions. And it really just puts out on display all that raw, original fossil material that people like me, and just people in general, want to see. my museum will probably be lucky to display 100 fossil specimens at all, let alone 100 specific dinosaur specimens like that. We'll have to see. Again, I ain't getting my hopes up. So yeah, I can kind of see why that display is one of Louis Chiappi's favorites. And on that subject, many of the video displays in the hall focus around Dr. Louis Chiappi's work on dinosaurs, building this dinosaur collection for the museum, as well as this world-class exhibit. And again, it's really good, kind of showing you paleontologists out in the field doing their thing. Because obviously, you know, it's not just, you know, Louis. There are other paleontologists as well, talking about how they contribute and what they do. You know, like Stephanie has her own little video clip talking about how she reconstructs dinosaurs on paper. But there was one that, in particular, that stood out for me, and that was when Dr. Louis Chiappi was talking about the legacy he wants to leave behind at the museum. And that just resonated with me, because I hope to open my own someday. And basically, I want to do what he set out to do. You know, I want to build a dinosaur collection. You know, specifically a provincial collection, and I'll talk about that in a future video. But I want to leave that legacy behind. I want to try and find dinosaur fossils for people to see and people to learn from. You know, students and public alike. And I'm just falling apart here. I don't really know how to express it, but you know, the videos are really cool. And what else in hindsight? Oh yeah, everything had signs now. There were a few signs missing when I went to it on July 7th. Particularly the big marine reptile specimens from California. They finally had signs, you know, explaining everything. And thank God, because without that sign I wouldn't have known that their plesiosaur, Marinosaurus, actually has gastroliths in it. It was found with many gastroliths, which are stomach stones, which the animal may have swallowed to either help process food or act as ballasts to help it achieve neutral buoyancy, or they may have done both. It's hard to say at this point. And so yeah, signs, dinosaur wall, you know, video displays. Yeah, one more thing. Now that I've been able to enjoy the exhibit, really get in depth, I could just see just the sheer amount of information that they're revealing, that they're conveying in this exhibit. They have part of the wall of the mezzanine shows the process that scientists use to decode fossil mysteries. In this case, they're using the nesting site of Acamoevo in Argentina as an example. You know, how do we know this? You know, look at the clues. Did you guess right? Type thing. That was really good, and really covering all the bases. You know, the animals that lived alongside the dinosaurs in California, and just all around, just how we know what we know. You know, the technology and the techniques we use to uncover the lives of dinosaurs. All of that just so wonderfully complements the museum's amazing specimens. And yeah, they say that, you know, this exhibit will rival the world's greatest dinosaur displays, and hell yeah, it does. I mean, it just put the Smithsonian's Dinosaur Hall to shame. Because, you know, I went to the Smithsonian once, way back in 2007. Only time I've ever been to the East Coast. And their Dinosaur Hall is just, it's dark, it's cramped. Didn't seem to be a terrible lot of unique specimens, it felt like. And, you know, just a lot of just little blurbs of information, not really this, you know, detailed look at dinosaurs that the LA Museum has. And, you know, and the same goes for the mammal halls, too. I mean, again, Los Angeles just puts the Smithsonian to shame. I mean, the Smithsonian really, really needs to renovate those fossil halls. And, you know, this dinosaur hall I've never been to the American Museum in New York. Everyone keeps telling me that's like fossil mecca or whatever. I've seen many pictures of it, and I know, in fact, I don't just know, I preach how seeing a picture isn't the same as being there, but just based on just, all these pictures I found on Flickr and whatnot, is that, damn it, I am so sorry, everyone. I'm learning how to do vlogs and reviews and all that. I'm doing my best here. But anyway, the fossil halls at the American Museum just don't look as, dynamic as the one here in Los Angeles, because they got specimens set up in very interesting ways. They just got all this natural light pouring in, whereas the ones in New York are just kind of just in those like static postures, not really doing a whole lot. Whereas you got T-Rexes gathering around a kill. You got Allosaurus chasing down Stegosaurus. You got Momentosaurus kind of craning its head out, like he's looking for that perfect branch to go nibble on. And so, yeah, I'd certainly say that this doesn't really rival the world's greatest dinosaur displays. I would say that Los Angeles, their new dinosaur hall, is one of the greatest dinosaur displays that we currently have. I look forward to going back there again and again. And, so one more time, I glower enviously at all the lucky people of the Dinosaur Institute who got to be a part of such a project. So that's really all I can think of to do in my kind of lame-ass follow-up to the new Dinosaur Hall. So there you go. Again, go check it out. It is like uber awesome. And that's it. So I'll see you in the future. I got a bunch of stuff planned. Till next time!